Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Geek Bytes Podcast. This is episode number 92. I'm Ramon Mejia,
I'm Edgar Acosta.
and every single podcast we bring you the round of the week's best geek and tech news. We discuss that news and of course anything else that we're interested in that week. Now before we begin, I want to give a quick shout out to our latest and greatest Patreon supporters who've been sending us some cash to support the podcast that we do, this one, and of course the Lit RPG podcast. Great supporter, Luke Chimolenko, author of Ascend Online. He gave us a $10 a month pledge on Patreon, which is amazing. That's the top that we thought anybody would do. We're probably going to have to change our goals at some point in case anybody wants to be even more generous than that. But that's the top tier that we have currently set up on Patreon. He just did it out of the kindness of his heart. So thank you, Luke Chimolenko. And additionally, we got our first PayPal donation. We set it up almost a year ago, and I kind of forgot about it.
But it's still thankful that you guys are awesome for donating. Anything helps. We talked about anything from a buck, a penny, whatever.
Or there are so many other ways to support the podcast, guys. There are lots of ways to do so. You can find it at geekbytespodcast.com/support, which includes just clicking on our affiliate links. We'll get like a little referral money when you do your Black Friday shopping. If you click on any one of those links, we'll get like a couple pennies per dollar that you spend. It's a small free way to do it. But the other patron supporter, the other PayPal supporter, Stephen Morse, author of the Continue Online series. Thank you, man, for being such a great supporter. I definitely appreciate it. So thanks a lot, man.
You guys are great.
Yep. Now on to our regular show, starting with some of our geek news headlines.
In Geek News this week, we'll talk about Instagram Live, Ditto, Star Trek Discovery, Black Panther casting, and the death of a TV legend, and much, much more.
Much, much more, folks. Now we are going to begin our show, though, with Geek News.
I like the remixes. All right, let's talk Instagram. Launched 2 new features Monday for Android and iOS. First, you can send a direct video or photo message that disappears after a second of viewing. And second, Instagram Live now lets you broadcast live video to anyone who follows you. The stream goes away when it ends too. So no watching streams later. Instagram will only send notifications that you're live to some friends, while everyone else needs to notice the live tag on your Instagram stories bubble. Instagram will also highlight the most interesting live streams in the Explore tab stories section. The features will arrive for users over the next few weeks.
Yeah, so more and more Instagram is becoming like Snapchat and Facebook, which is quite curious. I mean, because how do you differentiate yourself as a product as something different if you're literally copying the things that other people are doing?
Honestly, it's business. It's minor little tweaks, and by minor little tweaks is by putting your like when you're watching television. What's the difference between one television show, one network show, and another show? The little icon on your bottom left-hand corner that says who you are. And that's really all it is.
Sort of. I guess I see what you're saying, that nothing is really original in life. But when it comes to like tech products and things like that, you want it to be original. I mean, Instagram was known for the picture place. Mm-hmm. Snapchat was known for the pictures and videos that went away after a while, so you could be more open and honest with your audiences. And Facebook was that place that your grandpa got racist. But now they're all blending together. They have all the same features. We're currently broadcasting live on Facebook using Facebook Live and talking to our audience through their chat system. Mm-hmm. And quick shout out to everybody in the chat room, of course. But if everybody's doing the same thing, then it's just, you're not different than anybody. You kind of blend together.
It's all a matter of your quote unquote your product. Obviously, TV personality, music, whatever. You had to bring something a little different. It's the exact same thing that anywhere else in the world. You just got to tweak it. Just as long as you tweak it just a little bit.
Well, yeah. Well, I hope they do well. I do think I don't think it's a good sign that they're trying to copy everyone exactly the same way instead of coming up with something new. But hey, if it works for their audience, it works for their audience.
Yeah, the biggest debate right now that's kind of happening amongst with video streaming whatsoever is the ability to have it free. There's some, of course, like when you have Skype, but there's other ones you actually have to pay for the service, like conference calling and whatnot.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't be charged for like video message. If you're gonna be streaming anything, a video message should be just no different than a video watching than you're watching on your Netflix or whatever kind of thing. So if you want to have a video message with somebody, it's just a video message. There's no different. It's like a phone call also. Remember how the phone call was different between a landline, between a mobile, between a cellular?
Well, I
And
think
now,
there are definitely technological differences there that make them unique as far as like emerging marketplaces. So I guess get the idea that you're talking about. I hope. We're going to move on to our next story, though. It's going to be an Oculus story. Oculus Rift, that headset with virtual reality thing. They're coming out with a new feature starting December the 12th. Actually going to work with your Xbox One. Xbox One owners can stream their video games to a PC, and then from the PC, it can be sent to the Oculus Rift. So you can actually play your Xbox One games with your virtual reality headset. You're not going to be a full 3D virtual reality game all of a sudden. The video game is going to be on like a giant television screen or a theater screen, and you're still going to be playing it with your controller. So it's just going to be in a much bigger virtual screen. So if you don't have a 4K television or you don't have that big screen television that you've always wanted, but you have an Oculus Rift, mysteriously, you can kind of get that same experience that way now.
it's pretty much the advantage of remember back in the day when you had that one family TV and you really wanted to play a video game, but mom wanted to watch your show, dad wanted to watch the movie, kids wanted to watch something else. Now, and you wanted, of course, still want to play a game. That's your bonus. You kind of the way you could sanely shut out your whole family by putting that enclosed feature on your head and go into the world which you really like of video games.
So do you think that's why they released this particular feature around Christmas time, so you could shut out your family and be like, okay, guys, you go yell about racist and political things, and I'm just going to play this video game on my head, and
they'd be like, fuck you guys.
Yeah, that makes it the perfect holiday, folks.
Totally.
The ability to ignore your family.
It's no different. I'm surprised that it's going to be a matter of when, especially with that Nintendo, was it Switch it was called? It's pretty much the same thing, except that you're not carrying a tablet around with you. It's going to be a headset.
So. That may be the future of gaming. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah. All right, well, let's talk about more video game stuff. Pokemon Go, of course. You haven't played it? I have. I just haven't played it in a long time, though. But Pokemon Go launched its new tracking system Tuesday alongside a Thanksgiving event, double experience points, and a new monster called Ditto. The tracker not only shows nearby Pokemon, but a picture of which Pokestop they are near. And to add the incentive to pick up the game again, some Rattata and Pidgeys may turn out to be Dittos in disguise. If the last sentence makes sense to you, you really should be playing the game if you're not.
Yeah, this was an interesting feature that came out during Thanksgiving. It's also a Thanksgiving bonus experience period to try to get people to play again. They finally released Ditto. It was kind of a guesstimated feature that was coming out. People were reporting it sporadically, and apparently it's finally a thing. Like if you catch enough Dittos or Pidgeos, one of them will turn out to be a Ditto in disguise, which is like a Pokemon that copies other Pokemon.
Yeah, because for the longest time you were just catching Pidgeys and Rattatas, sometimes against your will, but just to kind of level up your characters and level up your dude. But now you have an excuse to actually capture your Pidgeys and your Rattatas.
Yeah, do these features make you more likely to pick up the game again?
Honestly, I haven't done it in forever. Reason is because I've been having issues with the batteries, because you know how Pokemon just drains the hell out of your battery. So it's still fun. It's still fun to play. It's like the healthiest way for fat kids and fat people in general. And no offense, I'll use the word fat because obese is too scientific. To just lose some LBS is just walking around, just doing what people do normally. And it's just a fun thing for anybody to do. Obviously, except for the scary, ending up in the bad neighborhoods kind of thing and falling off cliffs. Just don't do that, or driving while you're Pokemon going.
Absolutely correct. So I think this is a fun feature. It's nice that they're incrementally improving it. I'm still looking forward to player versus player battles. I think that's going to be the thing that's going to draw more people in when they implement that one.
It was supposed to be character trading and player versus player. Definitely, that's going to be the main thing, because that's the main thing about video games. Eventually, as much as you can play your own quasi campaign individual gaming, it's all about the multi multiplayer, the multi character experience of interacting with other people. And of course, there's still a whole lot more Pokemon to.
Yeah, absolutely. They came out with Pokemon Sun and Moon. If you have a 3DS, that's a great video game apparently. So lots of things for them to do still. Now, on our next story, we have Deadpool 2 news. They have a new director. Remember Tim Miller, which is the original director of Deadpool. He fell out with the cast and crew apparently, and so he left on another project. But they have a new director. David Litch is now the man in charge. He's one of the two directors of John Wick, that movie with Keanu Reeves where he's finally that action star, but he's not Neo. So a lot of people are really excited that they got such an action-oriented director to make this particular film. So, I mean, I think the director himself kind of plays well into the action-orientedness of Deadpool. I don't know that his comedy chops are quite the same, but I think they're leaving that to the writers and, of course, Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, we'll see how that turns out. Because I honestly have not seen John Wick. Of course, I've seen Deadpool. I'm just glad it's not directed by Bryan Singer, because that would have been a whole horrible thing. I'm like, dude, quit ruining everything that I love.
And again, we disagree on this. I think he did a very fine job in promoting the X-Men franchise and making mutants and superheroes a popularized franchise. So for nothing else, even if you don't agree with his style of directing or the creative way he portrayed the X-Men, he did something for the geek community. He made it okay to love these kind of superhero movies.
No, he just got paid enough. That's my own personal view. But it would have been a different universe. If it was like continuing the world of Avengers, if it was a Josh Whedon kind of X-Men universe, especially the whole interacting, bringing hopefully the Marvel family together someday.
But as far as John Wick goes, it's a pretty decent action movie. I believe it's on Netflix or Hulu or somewhere. You can catch it on. But it's he's basically Neo for the Matrix as an older man who's not as funny. So, but I mean, the theme is like very spy killer thing, like a lot of older actors go, that vengeance movie, that kind of thing. But it is definitely action oriented. Okay. And next story is going to be
the premiere of Justice League Action. Will debut on Cartoon Network on December 16th, just in a couple weeks, with the subsequent episodes airing on Saturdays beginning on December 24th. So just looking at just a little clip, not the clip, but just the little teaser shot of them, they look like a combination of that one, like Justice League, and of course the Batman kind of styling art form, but also of that one new, what's that, the high school equivalent to the DC superhero girls kind of thing. I forgot what it's called. It's like probably like
the art style. You're right, does appear a little less mature. It's not quite as complicated as you would see in like older DC animated film products. Very simplified features on Superman and Wonder Woman. So maybe they're going for the teen kid audience on this one. And might be super amazing. But so far, the art style is not amazing to me. I have high hopes for it. It is going to be December 20th. I'm a little more excited actually to see Young Justice Season 3. Personally, that seems like a more interesting adult product than this particular one. But if you're a fan of the Justice League, you're happy to see anything.
Yeah, it was very debatable. Kind of just like you ever watch Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go. Yeah, two honestly voiced by the exact same
similar art styles, very different story goals.
Oh yeah, compared to the seriousness of Teen Titans, it's very. I don't know what
well, they took like the goofiest elements of the Teen Titans show and they made them their own little short episodes. And apparently it's working out with them though. As far as animation goes, it's much easier to animate short little things than it is, a full 30-minute episode. So the turnaround time is easier, and it appeals to a younger audience. So that's perfectly fine.
It's entertaining either way. I could watch both the serious Teen Titans or the jokey, very anime influenced version. But I'll definitely give this one a try. I have not seen once again the girly high school Justice League version of it. But they're marketed out there.
I think we're just too old. We're not the target audience for that particular show. So which is fine. We're old grumpy men. Yep. Okay, on to our next story with some casting news in the world of TV and entertainment. And we're going to begin with Michelle Yeoh, the famous actress from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, is actually going to be cast in the new Star Trek series, Star Trek Discovery. Brian Fuller has left the project, but we're glad to know that this amazing actress from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, course Marco Polo, is showing up. According to Deadline, Yeoh is set to play a Starfleet captain. She's been cast as Hanbo, leader of the ship called the Shenzhou. The Shenzhou will apparently play a big role in the upcoming first season of Star Trek Discovery. That means that we don't know who the actual female lieutenant commander is going to be, but this is something to some new Star Trek news.
Yeah, I was never really a huge fan of Star Trek, but I always just like seeing the variety of diversity of both alien races and peoples. But it was kind of funny. Is like I always wondered if they ever kind of stereotyped it in a certain way, like a planet full of Asian people, a planet full of black, planet full of whatever kind of thing. But
I think they kind of promoted that by the time humanity is really to go in the stars, we've come a little more united.
Yeah.
All those racial, ethnic, nationalistic things have hopefully gone away by that point. But they did sort of idealize that in the fact that everyone who was a Klingon was black, and everyone who was a Romulan looked a certain way. So they did it on the basis of a species, but I mean that from a standpoint of in intergalactic civilization seems like it would be normal, like people of particular species would tend to gather together.
True. But let's see what it's going to turn out. I want to see honestly more an evolving form of like the holodeck, because that was what really
well, this is going backwards, so it's not going to be anything. If it's a prequel before I believe Star Trek: The Next Generation. Yeah, so it's going to be, I'm not sure if it's set after the first Star Trek. So it's like after the first Star Trek.
Well, what was the one where it was all a holodeck simulation, but it was a whole series? Star Trek, remember?
No, I don't recall anything being the entire series being a holodeck simulation.
It was like a kind of like a history thing. It was towards the end. Number one came on in Dinah the Troy. They were kind of conversating about they were going through records. And the whole records was the show, pretty much.
Was this like a bonus feature of like Star Trek: The Next Generation you're talking about?
Dude, I think it was called Enterprise. I think it was just called Enterprise.
No, Enterprise is an entirely different show where they're talking about. It might have been like the first episode that you were referring to, but the Star Trek Enterprise is the first, like before Star Trek, the original series. Like humanity was just getting its sea legs, or space legs in this case. John Archer was the first captain of Enterprise.
I think that might have been.
That was like a very super early version of Star Trek, basically. But it wasn't like a holodeck. It was them going into space and doing things. And the first season was a little boring, but it got better after that. So that's definitely like a real Star Trek show, though.
Yeah.
Anyways, but I love Star Trek, so I'm happy to see anything come in the future. I just hope CBS does this right, man.
Oh. All right. One that I'm kind of happy for is Chad Stahelski. I'm sticking with that. Lined up with the new film franchise, as well as Stahelski has officially joined the cinematic reboot of the Highlander films. The Hollywood Reporter broke the story about Stahelski's Highlander, which is to be the next movie after John Wick Chapter 2. I've been a huge fan of the original property since I saw it in high school, says Stahelski in a statement to The Hollywood Reporter. Such great themes of immortality, love, and identity, all wrapped in such colorful mythology. I can't think of a better property that gives the opportunity to create interesting characters, mythic themes, and action set pieces.
Yeah, so folks in the chat room, if you're excited about anything, let us know. We're happy to hear from you. I'm personally super excited to see the Highlander franchise come back. One of my favorite films growing up. I love the historical aspects of it the most.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're in the modern day world trying to kill each other was less interesting than the period set pieces where the same characters were living for hundreds of years and learning new ways of killing and living and different cultures. The idea that anyone could live so long and kind of gain interesting perspectives throughout history because they lived through it was utterly fascinating to me. It kind of combined the best aspects of a period piece and an action drama. So I mean, I loved it.
The whole mythos was awesome. I don't think I watched every single movie of the Highlander, but I've seen quite a bit of it. I did watch the original. I think I watched the last one, and I did watch the television show.
Yeah, 1 and 2 are probably the ones that you want to watch. After that, they get a little, they feel forced a little bit. You said you saw a TV series though, right?
Well, the series is good because they eventually put him in the movies, which was awesome because they eventually did the.
They do a crossover between everybody because everybody's still alive and they need money.
But it was so good. It was like obviously the soundtrack. If you didn't love Queen, go fuck yourself because it was ridiculous. It was great. The storyline was awesome. Everybody wanted to have the little replica Highlander sword on their mantle, on their wall, on their plaque, on what have you. And it was just an awesome storyline. Of course, like the love interest and it's just you cannot go wrong with it.
Yes. Do you think they can make it as good as the original though?
One of those kind of things as a reboot, no. To me, as long as it's not the same character, like same name at least, because the whole concept of the Highlanders.
Okay, so you want an original story in the Highlander. You don't want a completely reboot where it's the exact same story.
Talk about the relationship between it, but not be a reboot. Like, oh, we heard of the stories. We're gonna go see.
I think it'd be interesting to see Sean Connery's character as the main character.
He's too old.
And well, no, he doesn't have to be Sean Connery, but his character. So like his Highlander story.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that would be interesting. Yeah, that'd be a cool story. Okay, on to our next casting news. We have Angela Bassett has been cast as Ramonda, mother of T'Challa, in the upcoming Black Panther film.
Oh, there we go. There she is.
Yeah, there she is.
Beautiful lady.
Beautiful Angela Bassett.
Oprah.
I think Oprah could have done a really great job. Yeah, I think that would actually have been amazing. But Angela Bassett's probably more available for movies than Oprah is.
I would have gone with Oprah, even though of course Oprah probably wanted a ridiculous amount of money. I wanted like when I think of a mother character, don't get me wrong, have a nice strong representation. I don't care what color you are, as long as you're a strong, very feminine role model kind of thing. But the thing when it comes to me in a motherly kind of thing, I feel like like a tender kind of thing. But a tender woman that would actually stomp.
Oh, a tender woman, not a Tinder woman. And those are very different things, man.
Yeah, but also has that heart. But it kind of reminds me like not Bambi's mom. She's gone. I'm talking more like Dumbo's
These are the
mom.
most interesting compations that you've made so far, buddy.
Oh yeah, but also like more like Dumbo's mom. Like you fuck with my kid, I'm gonna destroy you. But not necessarily kill you, but just a lesson will be learned. But she's cool. I just want to see what how they're gonna storyline. Obviously. It's going to be a continuation of Civil War because obviously, it's going to be a continued Civil War because obviously, if you saw Civil War,
like that's where they're picking up the story. You mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So right after Civil War, when T'Challa's father's dead, he's going to become the new king. But there's probably some uprising between it, a rival candidate for the throne, someone who thinks differently, thinks the kingdom should be more out maybe or less out. Who knows?
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to have like a semi-burial sequence on it. Just because laying dead.
For the dad?
For the dad.
Yeah.
Because obviously they had to take the body back to Wakanda, lay him to rest, and of course that's the whole transition.
I'm curious to see if they're still going to have the Winter Soldier who's in exile in Wakanda. I'm sure they're going to reference. Do you think he's going to play like a major character within that story, or they're just going to be like, acknowledge he's there, and then that's it? Like everything's going to revolve around him, T'Challa as the Black Panther.
I think it's going to be the funny thing, which what they've been doing to the Winter Soldier in all his movies. He's literally going to be in a crate in a basement. He's always been in a crate somewhere in the basement somewhere until eventually they have to break him out for some apparent reason.
Poor guy. He can never come out of his closet for more than a couple days.
Out in the basement eating his fish heads. And that's it.
Okay, on to some more entertainment news. We have Dune. Yeah. They're going to make Dune again, apparently. At least Legendary Entertainment, the team behind The Dark Knight, Godzilla, Interstellar, Pacific Rim, and many other wonderful titles. I think they bought the Nerdist channel as well. They have picked up the rights for the legendary sci-fi novel Dune. So if you've ever watched the first Dune or the Sci-Fi channel series, you're probably a huge fan. The agreement calls for development of production and possible film, television products for a global audience. So that's all they've really said. But Legendary Picture doesn't usually pick up property rights or in terms of if they're not going to do something with. They're not that kind of company as far as I know.
Yeah.
But I'm super excited to see this particular movie. Did you ever see the original Dune movie?
I think I seen Dune. To be honest, the sci-fi-ness of it was pretty cool. It's pretty awesome, but it was a little long, a little boring. Maybe I just didn't have the attention for it. It just didn't grab me that
Oh
much.
no, the novel is like probably 3 or 4 times as serious and long. To be honest, the original one with Sting in it and Captain Picard. Patrick Stewart and a bunch of other famous people who weren't quite as famous yet. That one is the kind of classic movie that a lot of people look at as the visualization of Dune. Big desert, giant worms, and all that's very true. The movie that was made then was very faithful to the original content of the book and novel, which is why it was so popular with fans of that particular novel series. The novel, of course, is much more detailed, in-depth, and interesting. But I think the Sci-Fi Channel did actually a mini-series version of it that was equally as faithful, but they had more time to do it. So there's a huge bar set for the movie Dune at this point. I don't know that they can reach it. I can't picture anybody in my mind that would be as a good actor as the original cast for Dune. And of course, Sting is not going to be reprising his role.
Yeah, to me, it was just pretty much the whole other Sand People. That's all it was.
The other Sand People.
Other Sand People. All right, Hans got a question. Why are they going to reboot the X-Men franchise? Real simple, sir.
They have to.
They have to, and of course, Mr. Hugh Jackman, he can't. After Logan, he's going to be done. So they're going to have to start casting, like the way they're going to do that one standalone Han Solo movie. They're going to have to obviously get another Wolverine.
Yeah, but the bigger issue for Fox is that unless they keep making those X-Men movies, the rights revert back to Marvel.
Which I want.
Yeah, so they
love.
Yeah, that's never going to happen. They're never going to let go of that particular franchise, man. Yeah, never ever. Fantastic Four, they're going to keep making crappy Fantastic Four movies because they have to. Otherwise, the rights revert back to Marvel. That was kind of the Marvel deal at the time. Like, if you're going to do something with this, great. But you have to do it. Otherwise, we get our stuff back, and you've already paid us for it anyways. Yeah. And so these big entertainment companies, they have to keep making these movies like the X-Men again and again and again. Otherwise, they lose the rights to the word mutant. They lose all the X-Men stuff. They lose the Fantastic Four stuff. All those properties that they paid so much more for, they're willing to, do their. It goes back to Marvel, and Marvel will do it better, and they understand that.
Oh, totally. It's once again all about this. So hopefully they get it back. I hate what they're doing to them, but just
yes, we all pray. But I mean, thankfully, Marvel and Fox have been kind of. Working together. I mean, some other, they've been more willing to cross license, these characters for their mutual benefit at least. And Hans in the chat room says, "Do you know if they're going to do another Fantastic Four movie since Marvel has the rights now?" Marvel doesn't have the rights as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, because they butchered that last Fantastic Four flick. It's been in talks about. There's also some other characters that they still haven't got. I think the one they just got, we did a story on. I think they just got the rights to Namor, so it's the equivalent of Aquaman. But hopefully once my thing is they get all their characters back, it will be so great to have the Marvel Cinematic Universe truly be the way it is. But like we talked about before, Chris Evans can't be Captain America forever. Black Widow's not always going to look good in the catsuit. Spanx outfit that she's going to be wearing. So if you eventually probably will see a whole new cast.
I think you're probably going to see a new Iron Man before you see a new anybody else. I think he might be going as last, but Robert Downey Jr. is going to want to keep Iron Man as much as possible because that's the character that relaunched his entire career. After the debacle of drug, sex abuse publicly,
kids' beds,
that was
after a cocaine binge.
That was definitely the thing that does it. But yeah, I don't doubt at all that they're going to make another Fantastic Four movie because, again, they have to, or the rights revert back to Marvel. It's the same reason they're doing a bunch of mutant stuff because they have to use the word and the license, otherwise it reverts back. Which is another reason that Marvel, the entertainment company, is promoting the Inhuman line. Because they're not mutants. They're created by Terrigen Mist, which magically gives them super-powered powers. Yeah, but they're not mutants, so they can do whatever they want, and they can use those characters without having to talk to Fox.
So it's a waiting game
licensing.
for us fans,
Yep.
and it's a debate on the bargaining table for the companies. So that's pretty much it. All right.
On to our next casting news, which is this one's still kind of cool to me. Game of Thrones actress Emilia Clarke has just landed another great movie role. The last movie you might have seen her in was Terminator Genesis. She played a younger version of Sarah Connor. Lucasfilms has cast her in Phil Lord and Christopher Myers' highly anticipated Han Solo standalone film. So you're going to see the Queen or the Mother of Dragons in a Han Solo film.
Yeah, I haven't watched Game of Thrones at all from beginning to end, so obviously I know of her, but haven't seen the show, so I can't really say much about her. The Terminator Genesis, I saw, it was decent. It was okay. I wasn't like in love with it, but it's a movie. That's how I like to describe certain things that I'm
about that movie. The most annoying thing was that Matt Smith was in it, and they didn't really use him. He comes in at the very end as Skynet. But he's a hologram for part of that, and he just he has a very small scene. I thought that was totally a waste of talent, in my opinion. I think it would have been much more entertaining if he came in at the last minute and saved everybody as Doctor Who. That would have been my preference, like a great crossover thing between Terminator and Doctor Who. Because he has the sonic screwdriver. He's just like wah wah wah, and just all the robots shut down. That would have been like the best thing. Like
I shared this thing on Facebook about the story of how Mary Poppins was connected to the Potter universe, and how she was a romantically linked. Of course,
she's really a wizard.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because of her magic powers, the whole conspiracy thing was she went out as like a babysitter, but also to test these young muggles that had wizard abilities, and of course would recruit them and all that kind of thing. So the concept it makes for a good story.
That's a great fan theory. And Hans Luma in the chat room says the last movie she was in was You Before Me. I haven't seen it, so I guess I should say the last movie I saw her in was Terminator Genesis. But Hans is absolutely right. She's doing many things besides Game of Thrones. And You Before Me hopefully is a great movie, and I think I actually did see that on digital version of it. Was that really her? I didn't really recognize her. Her hair was different, and her character was very, very, very different before from Khaleesi. So maybe that's not why I recognized her. And Han says, yeah, it's a total chick flick. I saw it with my wife. I didn't see it alone, man. So I think it's okay for me to keep my man card up. But I think you're right. It was really entertaining and funny and tragic, of course, at the very end. Won't spoil it. But you're right. So good job, man. Thanks for letting us know that she was in that movie, because I totally didn't recognize her.
Okay. All right. And for sad news, if you even heard it online yesterday, well, we'll tell you now. Miss Brady herself, Florence Henderson, the wholesome actress that went from Broadway star to television icon, went from Carol Brady to the ever cheerful mom and residing over the Brady Bunch, has died. She was 82. She died surrounded by family and friends. Her manager, Kayla Pressman, said in a statement late Thursday. So it was kind of sad note to end Thanksgiving on, finding out America's mom pretty much, or one of America's moms, pretty much passed away. Lovely lady. Loved her thing. She was very kind of like semi-wholesome character, even though the show was, especially by the fashion, I think it was the 70s?
Yeah.
60s, 70s?
It's definitely, yeah, 70s kind of theme.
Yeah. And she was cool. I think I liked her better when afterwards she kind of still adopted the Carol Brady persona, because she was pretty much, I don't want to say typecast as that, but to hear her break out, especially when hearing her curse every once in a while, just made me laugh, because haha, it's like whenever you hear your mom curse, you kind of laugh a little bit inside. But it was cool to see. Did you ever watch those biographies though on the Brady Bunch family?
That's what I was going to talk about, man. Like I was saying, she was totally wholesome on television, on the screen, but off the screen, man, was she does minx, man.
The dad was gay, I guess secretly gay in real life. Supposedly she was even dating the older brother at a time. They were hooking up, and it was just so.
It was all consensual, folks. No laws were broken. But Edith Wolf in the chat room says no, and I totally agree with you. She was one of those characters that epitomized a certain characteristic in Americana. Growing up as with a television babysitter. all my values for what it means to be a family, what it means to have friends, and social structures came from television. I was very much an indoor kid, and so television informed a lot of the things I thought should be about family and television, and definitely kind of taught you what it meant to have a family. Same thing with Family Ties or Who's the Boss or any of those shows that were in the 70s and 80s growing up that were, wholesome television. So you're right. She really does for a lot of Americans as the mom that you kind of always wanted. Especially if your mom was working 2 or 3 jobs because she was single or because your family wasn't as perfect as the Brady Bunch. She kind of became a surrogate in many ways.
Oh yeah, she was awesome. The show itself was great. It ran for I don't know how many seasons, but it franchised over. They actually did like reunion specials, getting the whole Brady family together. They put out an album. They've done a couple movies.
Oh no, yeah, they worked that franchise to the bone.
Oh yeah, they've also done even like a reboot / movie of the show, and Florence Henderson played the grandmother of Shelley Long played Florence as Carol Brady, and it was still an interesting show to watch. Like especially if you grew up watching it, you got the joke references here and there, so it had a little funny bone, all that. But overall, lovely lady. She lived a nice, pretty long life. Thankfully, hopefully, it wasn't for any bad complications, but she lived it well to the max.
Yeah, good for her. I mean, and she had a great family, and they were there when she passed. So you can't ask for more than that. It's a big bucket of win for the 82-year-old actress and star and icon of television in our lives. So we wish her well, and she hope everything. She's in a better place.
She's hanging out with Mike, and I forgot the name of the housekeeper.
Alice.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so that's going to be it for the show, folks. Thank you very much for watching and listening, folks. That's it for us for Geek Minds Podcast. We appreciate you taking the time to talk with us and watch us go on and on about the things that we geek out and love. So thanks a lot, folks. If you like the podcast, of course, you want to support us, you can do so at
geekbytespodcast.com/support.
Absolutely. Thanks again for listening and watching for Geek Minds Podcast. I am Ramon Mejia.
I'm Edgar Acosta.
Remember, folks,